Across the state are gathering to honor fallen Milwaukee officer Matthew Rittner. And lawmakers could vote as early as tomorrow on the border security deal. We'll tell you whether the president supports it. Plus, 1 year after the Parkland High School massacre, advocates are keeping up their fight on Capitol Hill.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now at noon on this Wednesday as the big dig out continues. Let's head over to the Weather Center meteorologist Dave Caulfield has a look at our first alert forecast. Boy, the winds out there today.
Yeah, and luckily they will diminish as we head into the afternoon, Mark. But between the 6 to 12 inches of snow much of the area received yesterday, we don't need any more concerns in the weather department, which is why this is the most beautiful sight that I could give you. A clear radar picture this afternoon, and temperatures will be in the 20s with this sunshine, and they're actually already into the 20s for some of us on the WISC-TV Skycam. We're looking at mostly sunny skies in Madison. Almost said mostly cloudy. Instinctively, we're at 21 in Madison, 16 in Mineral Point, 19 in Lone Rock, and also at 21 in the Dells. Wind speeds have come down a little bit, but still a little bit gusty out of the west at about 8 to 15 miles per hour, and gusting in Janesville closer to 25. So those get a little bit better over the next few hours. Still partly sunny by the time we get to later this evening. Highs will be in the mid-20s. Then as we head into tomorrow, the clouds do return and temperatures do get a little bit warmer. We'll talk about the threats of some mixed precipitation on your Valentine's Day. Plus, we will also talk about what to expect for this weekend in your News 3 Now First Alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Not a lot more snow, let's hope.
No, I think the faucet is off for now.
It was stunning by the light of day how much snow there is out there.
Exactly.
All right, we'll check back in a few minutes. Thank you, Dave. Law enforcement is reminding motorists to move over for emergency vehicles. Dane County deputies say they were responding to a vehicle that slid into the ditch on Highway 151 in Verona when a deputy was rear-ended by another vehicle. Officials say the deputy did not appear to be injured, but it was evaluated at the hospital. The driver was cited, and then just a few minutes later, a Dane County plow driver reported a hit and run after a Jeep crashed into his snow plow in the village of Blue Mounds. There were no injuries reported in that incident. A 52-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of his 7th operating while intoxicated charge. Police say Woodrow Bartlett pulled into the Walgreens on Cottage Grove Road, went into the store, fell down on the floor and couldn't get up. That's happened on Tuesday afternoon. Employees said they called police after they were concerned for his welfare. That's when he was arrested for his 7th OWI. Here's a live look now at a public visitation and funeral service for fallen Milwaukee officer Matthew Rittner at Oak Creek Assembly of God Church in suburban Milwaukee. The public visitation will be held on Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have about another hour now. A service will follow. The 35-year-old officer fatally shot while serving a search warrant a week ago. Rittner survived by his wife, a young son, and his extended family. Meanwhile,
the president's got a number of options. He's going to keep all those on the table. We'll make a determination of what is necessary based on what the final piece of legislation looks like.
We can't pass it until it's ready, and when it's ready, we'll
get to that story in a minute. First of all, the Milwaukee Brewers remembering fallen officer Matthew Rittner. Adam McAlfee, NBA.com beat reporter, tweeted this photo. He says the Brewers have set up a locker in their new Phoenix clubhouse dedicated to Rittner. Rittner and his wife got married at Miller Park. Well, now we could see the first vote today on a bipartisan compromise bill designed to fund more border security and avoid a government shutdown. CBS News has learned President Trump is likely to sign a bipartisan bill that would keep the government open and provide money for border security, but he could change his mind. The president wanted $5.7 billion for a border wall. The congressional compromise gives him about a quarter of that money, nearly $1.4 billion for fencing, 55 miles of it in the Rio Grande Valley. Lawmakers are still working on the final wording of the legislation. They're expected to wrap up that process Thursday.
The president's got a number of options. He's going to keep all those on the table. We'll make a determination of what is necessary based on what the final piece of legislation looks like.
We can't pass it until it's ready, and when it's ready, we'll be ready to pass it.
Congress must pass the legislation, and the president needs to sign it by Friday night to avoid another partial government shutdown. Well, 1 year ago tomorrow, 17 people lost their lives when a gunman opened fire on Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The tragedy not only transformed the community, but also the country, giving a way to a student-fueled movement dedicated to addressing gun violence. Nicole Killian sat down with some of the founding members of March for Our Lives to see where the effort stands today.
There's not a day that goes by where I'm not thinking about all this.
For the past year, Matt Deitch and Charlie Mirsky have channeled their grief into a mission.
Even when March for Our Lives was still in its infant stage, I kind of knew something big was going to happen.
And it did. More than 1 million people around the country demonstrated in the weeks after the Parkland shooting, demanding change.
We took that moment. We have that recognition of what's important and what the issues are, and now it's about mobilizing and organizing every single day.
From road tours and town halls to voter registration drives and lobbying sessions in states and the nation's capital.
The work that we're doing every single day is actively saving lives, and that is by far the biggest accomplishment that we've had.
Do you consider that the Parkland effect?
I've heard it referred to as the Parkland effect, but this is so much more than just Parkland.
According to the Giffords Law Center, 26 states and the District of Columbia enacted 67 new gun control laws in 2018, triple the number from the previous year.
That is really when things change, is when people understand, elected officials understand what the public is demanding.
Enough. We have all had enough.
Recently, survivors and students packed a House committee hearing to push for a background checks bill making its way through Congress.
Is that something you can support?
The problem is it doesn't solve any problem here. We do have universal background checks.
So if that bill were to come over to the Senate today, you would vote no?
Not unless it figures out a way to address the burden that it puts on a seller.
It does kind of shine a light about what kind of work we're going to have to do in the Senate.
But Charlie and Matt say they're committed.
There were 300+ mass shootings last year, and we're talking about the anniversary of one of them. You could pick any day, and it's an anniversary of mass shooting in America. And if that doesn't bother the people watching this, then they are not paying attention.
To a fight they say is just beginning. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
And for the 1 year anniversary of the Parkland shooting, some students are going dark. They say they don't plan to do anything publicly so they can spend time with their families. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This Valentine's Day, have a little rendezvous starting with our dinner for two. Ooh, it's so good. With Valentine's Day right around the corner, it's time to start thinking about what we can make for dinner that looks fancy and is tasty without breaking the bank. So after checking our website and cookbooks for some ideas, we came up with a new spin on chicken marsala that's perfect for two and is clean your plate good. All we do is coat a couple of skinless, boneless chicken breasts with a bit of seasoned flour and saute them in a mixture of vegetable oil and butter till they're golden. Then we take them out and add a bit more butter before tossing in some cut up mushrooms and onions. After they're tender, we deglaze the pan with some chicken broth and a splash of marsala wine, along with a bit of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Once that thickens up, the chicken goes back in until it's cooked through and it's ready to serve. Just make sure you don't forget to spoon lots of the sauce over each piece, because that's the best part. And when you cut into this, get ready for one of the most tender and flavor-packed dishes you've had in a long time. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our chicken marsala for two. This, along with a few candles, a glass of champagne, and a little soft music, will give you all the makings for the perfect Valentine's Day dinner. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a romantic way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, a windy start to your Wednesday. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has your first alert forecast when we come back. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. And call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Well, credit card debt creates a hole in American bank accounts, and one car company is working on technology that could give you a good night's sleep. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
The cost of living in the U.S. held steady in January. A drop in fuel prices helped balance a rise in the cost of food and shelter. But stripping out the more volatile food and fuel components, the Labor Department says prices did inch up 0.2%. Millions of Americans are in the hole. According to Bankrate.com, 74 million Americans have more credit card debt than emergency savings. That is the highest rate since the survey began in 2011. And while the debt is piling up, building an emergency cushion is not a top goal for many Americans. Only 43% of households say that boosting savings is a priority. A new global oil report shows that production by OPEC fell by 800,000 barrels a day in January. OPEC and other oil-producing allies had pledged to reduce production by more than 1 million barrels a day beginning in January in order to reduce a global oversupply. And Ford has designed a smart bed that will keep mattress hogs on their side. Pressure sensors can tell if a partner moves into the other sleeping space. The bed then gently pushes the person back to their side. But the bed won't be on sale anytime soon. Ford is using the invention to demonstrate the concept of its driver assist technology. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Thank you, Diane. Stocks are up across the board at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial is up 74 points. The NASDAQ up 13, while the S&P 500 is up 6. Time now for Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. She's in the radio barn. And why is Ford creating a mattress, I wonder?
I don't know. And why do I need that technology? My elbow works really good. Just ask Buck.
Yeah, the bruised up Buck.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what, the market's today a little bit bruised up too, Mark. We had pretty good gains on corn and soybeans yesterday. Everybody optimistic about the potential between the United States and China, even if we extend our deadline beyond March 1st. We gained about 1.3% in volume and price yesterday on corn and beans, so it was a good day. Today we're giving back just a little bit. Not dramatic, but just a little bit. Also want to remind folks in that Loganville area, my friend Dale Meyer, they've got another farm stress workshop that's happening right now at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Loganville. We had talked about that previously, that they basically just invite people to come on in. They'll serve up a lunch, and then they help to bring in different counselors, different community awareness folks that can help families that are facing some of this difficult weather and the financial stress that's out in farm country. Like I said, on the midday, our corn and beans are basically neutral, if not just a little bit stronger on the midday. The wheat market's actually been trending a little bit higher. Some concerns in the Plain States about all this wicked weather we've been dealing with in the upper Midwest and what it's going to cost us as far as winter kill on our wheat acres come spring. Dairy complex today in Chicago also looking a little bit better. Fluid milk contracts are tepid, but barrel cheese up 2 1/4 today at 143 1/2. 40-pound block cheese up 3 1/4 at 159 1/4. Double A butter down 1 3/4 at 223 3/4. Today is day number 1 National Farm Machinery Show down in Louisville, Kentucky. Mark, I just got an update that they're introducing new software that will let farmers drive their tractors and their combines from a cab or the couch. So I guess that technology thing that Ford was talking about, I can't imagine my farmer guys sitting watching me on News 3 while they're playing around with an app on their phone driving a combine. But it could be just around the corner.
Who knows? That's technology. And we got the milk prices right today, right?
Yes, thank goodness for that. It was a good exchange with the viewers yesterday over that, but thank you for getting them correct today.
You found out about it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Stay warm.
You bet.
We'll see you.
You too.
And Dave is here now with a look at our first alert forecast. Sun finally, but at a price.
Yes, it's windy outside and a little bit on the cold side, but we'll take that over what we've experienced over the past 4 weeks. A clear radar picture is the best radar picture at this point. The low pressure system that caused all that snow has moved to the east. It is causing some snow across the state of Michigan and also enhancing some lake effect snow there as well. But for us, not seeing anything on Doppler track, and I think it's going to remain that way. Doppler track quiet, that is, until we get into the afternoon on Valentine's Day. More on that in just a little bit. Wall-to-wall sunshine showing up. Also, a lot of snow showing up on the ground under Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. For Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, temperatures are in the 20s right now, and we have that sunshine with us. We have a new snowfall record to talk about, at least the daily record, that is. For yesterday, we received 8.3 inches of snow at the airport. That breaks the old daily record, so the record for February 12th, not the all-time snowiest day record. There was a little bit of confusion there, of 4.9 set back in 1923. So almost a 100-year record fell yesterday with that system. And if you've been feeling tired over the past 4 weeks, I think I figured out the reason why. So the first 15 weeks of winter, we received about 10 inches of snow, which is well below normal. The last 4 weeks, 30.8 inches of snow have fallen in Madison. That is more than an inch per day on average, and that is more than 2.5 feet in just about 28 days. So the last person on January 15th to say, I guess winter's not going to visit us this year. That's who I'm blaming for this. I'm blaming you for that. It's been a wild ride of weather, that's for sure. The last above average snow season by the end of the season was actually about 5 years ago, 2013 to 2014, when we received about 60 inches of snow. And over the next couple of months, we still have about a foot of snow on average to go. So we'll see if we make that up by the time we get to April. On our temperature map, we're noticing teens and 20s with the sunshine. The wind has come down a little bit, starting to calm down, especially across southwestern Wisconsin as this low pressure system continues to pull away more. We still do have some gusts of about 20 to 25 miles per hour, but they will get better towards the end of the afternoon. It feels like 12 in Madison. It feels like the single digits and actually below zero closer to Dubuque. So on our wind map front, we are looking at things calming down into the evening hours. And then as we head into the rest of the day, looking at mostly sunny skies, temperatures will be in the mid-20s for highs, and then we'll be in the teens to start off Thursday, but the clouds do come back, and then there is a chance of some rain and snow and then some snow showers later on Valentine's Day, but really we're not looking at anything as far as accumulations go. We quiet down on Friday morning, if anything, about a half an inch of snow at max with this system. So it's nice to be able to kind of dodge most of a snow system as it comes our way, and I think that's going to be the case on Valentine's Day. A Valentine's Day present, if you will, from Mother Nature. A little bit quieter by the time we get to this weekend. Our next chance of maybe a little bit of snow shower activity comes on Sunday with temperatures in the low 20s.
It's enough.
It's enough. It really is.
That picture from the weather calendar, I looked last night and said, that could have been today.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of snow. All right, Dave, thank you. Ahead on News 3 at noon, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Hint, hint. We'll tell you how to celebrate the holiday with the heart-healthy tips. That's after this. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death for men and women in the United States. In today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood explains how celebrating a heart-healthy Valentine's Day will help.
This Valentine's Day, think outside the box of chocolates.
There are lots of ways to show your love on Valentine's Day that include some heart-healthy options.
Instead of sweets, give the gift of time.
For example, going for a walk together or maybe participating in another activity that the two of you really enjoy.
The same goes for your kids.
Things like stickers or fun Valentine's Day cards, or let them make friendship bracelets as a way for them to show how much they appreciate their friends instead of sending them to school with candy.
Instead of going to a fancy restaurant, cook a candlelit dinner at home.
When we cook our own meals, we are in control of what goes into our mouths, and we can really ensure that what we're eating is a healthy option.
And while it might not make for the most romantic date, the American Heart Association has set up free heart screenings at CVS Minute Clinics across the country this Valentine's Day and every Thursday in February.
You have no idea how to prevent cardiovascular disease unless you know where you're starting from.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Have a healthy, happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. News 3 at 4 is coming up later.